everyone, it's Isaki, as always, and today I'm going to be answering all your goth questions. So as before, we're going to start with YouTube ones. Let's get started. So Zoroark something says, I have been interested in goth, but parents are super religious and wondering when I should start. So I completely understand this. Goth was not allowed in my home because of it being seen as satanic and dark and evil, etc., and everything to do with goth was just something bad. So there was even a point in time where I was not allowed to have any black. I wasn't allowed to have black nail polish. I was never allowed to dye my hair until much later on, and then the color was pretty much the exact same color that I already had naturally. So there was nothing I was allowed to do to be anywhere near being gothic. So I actually went the complete opposite and did something that I was allowed to do, and that was actually Decra. And I'll show you kind of what that looks like here. Complete opposite, but still not like the whole preppy kind of thing. So unfortunately I was not able to really be gothic until I moved out. So if you are in that same situation where you're not able to do it right now, you just may not be able to, or you can sit down and explain to them that, hey, I'm just really into the music and I want to do the fashion that goes with it, or I just really love the fashion, or I'm just really into the darker kind of things in life, but no, that doesn't necessarily mean that I am an atheist or a Satanist or a pagan or whatever, etc., the whole cliches things. And there are a lot of videos on YouTube. The biggest one I think is going to be by Toxic Tears, What Not to Say to Goth Girl. She talks about a lot of stereotypes there. I have a video that says shit people that say to goths. And there's another one, I forget who it's by, but there's quite a few of them on here where goth girls, and I don't think there's any goth guys really except for like one person, who go into the stereotypes and how they're wrong. So hopefully that'll work out with you, and when you should start, whenever you feel like it. So there's no age limit to being a goth. Usually when you're a younger goth, they'll call you a baby bat. Anita Melanie asks, do you enjoy listening to goth music? Yes, I do listen to a lot of stereotypical goth music, such as The Cure in their older days. I'm not a big fan of Susie Sue. Sorry, I mean I like her look, but I'm not a big fan of the music. I do enjoy Bauhaus. A lot of goths will kind of like Depeche Mode, a little bit more on the poppy kind of side. I do enjoy them. A lot of the 80s cliche goth music. I'm very much though into heavy rock and metal, more that kind of thing, or an operatic kind of metal like Nightwishes. And I also am a big fan of Sisters of Mercy. I do like Marilyn Manson. Some goths do try to look down upon that. Whatever, music is what you like. And if you, like I said in my little video, if you really cared about other people's opinions, you wouldn't be goth now, would you? Alright, Sari in Wonderland asks how to start a goth wardrobe on a budget, where to and not to buy. So goth fashion really kind of started with DIY stuff. I mean, there wasn't a lot of brands when goth fashion as we know it today started out. You really kind of had to take black items. You can spray paint them. ofherbsandalters has some DIY kind of videos on there. Adding the safety pins. You can buy studs on eBay and implement them yourself. Patches you can iron on, so on. So like I see a lot of goth and punk fashion kind of overlap sometimes. A lot of really big brands that are very nice would be like Trip, which is kind of an old school goth. I just was speaking to someone the other day. I'm a huge fan of Trip. Spin Doctor is another really good brand I really like. Royal Bones has some pretty cool pieces as well. There is a wonderful site called Berserk. I'll put their link down below. That's actually where I got the dress I'm going to be using for my wedding. They have so many different things, and if you follow them on Instagram, they do giveaways all the time. Tuck to UK Shoes has a lot of really cool things. Budget-wise though, I would check on eBay, look under goth or lacy, or if you're more into like aristocratic kind of goth. You don't necessarily have to search for goth, but just look for the black version of things, and usually you can implement that in a more basic kind of gothy wardrobe. There are so many different items out there that you can find even at Claire's, or Etsy is a little bit more expensive sometimes, but a lot of mainstream stores, as other people said in videos, Goth will kind of go into fashion now and then, so you can find a lot of random pieces that are not specifically made for Goths, but definitely work with Gothic fashion. So you just kind of have to get creative, train your eye, and look out. Especially around Halloween time, you can find a lot of really cool stuff. So where to and where not to buy, and name some places there. Hot Topic is pretty good. I mean, I work at Hot Topic, so especially on the website, I know they have some trip things. They have Royal Bones, they have Spin Doctor, and you can find a lot of shirts. Like, we've just been getting into Cure shirts, so I'm loving that. So now Hot Topic does have fashion from all kinds of different areas, from mainstream and pop to goth. You can get lucky on there and find some very traditional kind of gothic items. Alright, so moving along to the questions on Instagram. Courage Fan asks, what is your opinion on the Wiccan and pagan community / religions, and have you ever been called a witch for the way you dress? Sorry if it's a little off topic. And I told you that's a perfectly fine question. So I have some really cool friends that are into the pagan belief. I myself am not. I actually am the complete opposite. I believe in the Bible, though I do not agree with any organized religion out there, nor will I call myself belonging to any religion whatsoever. I'm just, nope, won't do it. So that's fine. I'm usually people who are into very alternative and different kind of beliefs are going to be the nicest people, because they've gotten the most crap thrown at them. So while, like I said, I myself don't agree with it, I am very natural and holistic, which some people will kind of say is into that as well. There's a line that I don't cross. So I don't, I'm not against anyone that is into pagan or Wicca or anything. You just won't find anything about that from me, because I don't practice that. So always be nice to everyone, no matter how they believe or don't believe. Have I ever been called a witch? No, I've not been called a witch, but I have by family said, oh, you look like a witch. Or because you're pale and you want to dye your hair black. I remember someone saying to me, no, you shouldn't dye your hair black because you'll look like a witch. Oh, if you wear all black clothing because you're pale, you look like a witch, etc, etc, etc. Which is rude, because people who are into witchcraft and pagans, they look like everyone else. They don't look just like this. Not all goths believe into that, as I've said, and not all Wiccans and pagans are goth. So that's really narrow-minded and stupid and cliche. So if you want to call me that, then I'm sorry, but that's just a stupid mindset, and I don't really care. The other day at work, someone was like a young girl, I wouldn't say she was young, she was younger than me though, and she was admiring a dress on the wall, and her mother was like, oh, if you wear that you'll look like a witch. And it was a really pretty long white dress. Like, what? Not even. No. Just, it's really stupid. Alright, Lion Adventures, have you ever been to a goth-themed dance club? Any advice for going to such an event? How to be cool, dance cool, what not to say, what not to do? Unfortunately, out here in Vegas, there's no goth scene whatsoever. There's like, there's no goth club, there's no goth anything. I've tried to look into it, and many years ago there was kind of a gothy thing going on, and just not anymore these days. So I just kind of hang out with my darkly inclined friends, and we goof around and sing Disney songs. Yep. That's as hardcore as we get. Black Friday though has made a really kind of funny video recently, and it shows all the different types that you will see people dancing at goth clubs. She's more the person to kind of ask that, because she has been able to go to those kind of places, and it's really just funny to see that video. It's really cute. I adore her and Toxic Tears. I love them so much. So I'm sorry, but how to be cool, you should not be asking that, especially if you're goth, because you should disregard everyone else's opinions. Be yourself, do your own thing, and screw what other people think. It's as simple as it can be. Like I said with Lolita fashion, being gothic should be liberating, not stick you in a box. You should never, never, never feel like you are in a box. Always be yourself. So that way you're happy. Alright, Rain Butterfly 0 asks, what drew you to goth fashion, and when you started out, what is the most cringeworthy outfit do you think you wore when you first started? Like I said, I wasn't allowed to be a baby bat. So, probably, I don't know what the most cringeworthy outfit was, because just whatever I wore I was really happy in. Probably trying, like, I don't know. I was really into Blood in the Dance Floor for a while, so I have a couple of their shirts. Now I just wear them just because they're cute looking, and no one really kind of knows what BOTDF means when I walk around out in public. There's like a pirate bunny on there, and the other one has like this weird cute little creature guy. So maybe like when I wore them, I also did like an Andy Biersack kind of look for Halloween when I worked at Hot Topic before. And that was really kind of funny. I had like this angry like kind of pose. And I wouldn't say it's cringeworthy, but I would definitely say it's kind of funny. If I find it, I'll put it here for you. And what drew me to goth fashion? I grew up on rock. Not alternative rock though. Unfortunately, I grew up on more like a Christian kind of rock. Even though I'm not Christian. And so I always enjoyed heavy influences, and I've always been kind of drawn to just the darker things. I wouldn't say evil things, but just darker things in general. And I fell in love with all kinds of medieval and fantasy style of clothing and that kind of look. So that can go hand in hand with being goth, and even like steampunk stuff can go hand in hand with being gothic. There's so many different types of goth fashion out there. So that kind of just molded into loving goth. And one of my best friends in middle school was goth, and this was before I really started to understand it, and I wish that she kind of talked to me more about it and everything. But I was during my phase of trying to fit in with other people. It was before I realized that I should just not really give a crap what other people thought and just do myself. So she was a goth, and I was all kinds of different things, just jumping around from one thing to another. And I remember one time she said to me, like, doesn't it suck that you can't wear black nail polish? And I turned to her and I said, why would I want to wear black nail polish? I didn't get it yet. I was too focused on trying to be liked. And yeah, now I'm like, nah, screw you if you don't like me. So, yeah. That kind of sums it up, I guess. Just like I've always been drawn to it. So goth, my love for goth fashion and the aesthetic of things dark came before I knew about goth music. So, yep. So that is all the questions for now. If you have any other, I will hold another Q&A sometime in the future. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I'm Isaki. I do videos weekly. And if you have any other questions though, go ahead and write them down below. May the force be with you. Bye bye.